This is the Forest Witch, a Tier 7 Blitz Nation heavy tank collector. A vehicle that is actually fairly inexpensive at $15 to get your hands on in the current event. Now, I'm pretty sure that you can grind this event and probably get the vehicle for free. I'm not exactly sure, but it seems like you should be able to. But even if you're not, and you have to spend maybe $5 or $10 to get the vehicle, I don't think that's a super expensive deal, so I don't think it's actually that bad of a price tag to get your hands on the tank. Now, there's a whole tree to go down. It goes down to stage 60, and it does contain some crates, like the Folio container. You can get the Dracula, Lycan, and Pharaoh Helsing from it, but very low drop chance, 1% for all the tanks. That means the tier 5s are the same drop chance as well. Some of you unlucky folks out there will get either a Nightmare or a Medjay instead of a Dracula, Lycan, Pharaoh, or Helsing, just because they have the same drop chance, which I think is a little stupid. But yeah, there's a decent chunk of good rewards in this event. I'm not sure how far you can make it for free, but it's nice that Wargaming even has the event to begin with, which I guess is pretty cool. In today's video, we are going to be mainly focusing on the Forest Witch. I haven't played the vehicle yet, but I'm kind of excited to play it. I mean, let's be real, this is by far the ugliest thing Wargaming's ever put into the game. I get it's a Halloween tank, but still, I mean, bleh, it's really, really ugly. And the gun, yeah, we're going to break into that now, because I don't think it's too good either. It's an auto-reloader with 4 shells. Think of this kind of like a Caro 45 ton, but a tier 7 heavy. The problem is the vehicle doesn't really get good DPM. Its base damage per minute is 1791, and that's on the first shell, which has a 5.43 second base reload, and then if you add on the 2.61 second intra clip, it's, yeah, about an 8.04 second reload, and then, yeah, so 240 alpha, added into that, that's 1800-ish damage per minute. That's not the worst thing ever, but remember, that is the first shell. The next shell is a 6.34 second reload. The next one's an 8.15. So the more you eat into the clip, the worse your DPM gets and the longer your reload is. By the time you're at shell 3, or yeah, I guess shell 2 is what Wargaming's calling it, you're basically down to about 1400 DPM. And by the time you load in the shell 1, well, it's going to be 18 seconds just for that single shot. So essentially, you're not going to use this clip too much. You want to stay on your first shells and you don't want to eat into it. I'm still probably going to, because what's the point of driving an autoloader if you're not gonna? But that is something to keep in mind. The tank does have decent pen, 190 mils on the standard, 252 on the premium, which is pretty solid, and the alpha's not bad at 240, although nothing crazy either. Mobility-wise, the tank is not fast. It has a top speed of 36, a reverse of 15, but it's not the worst speed ever, so, I mean, it's not terrible. 6 degrees of gun depression is pretty atrocious, though, for how tall this thing is. This is the armor profile of the Forest Witch, and it is incredibly weird. We can see that it's got a lot of red, but it's also got a lot of green, especially on the edges of the turret. They're about 170 millimeters thick. There's a game you're going to watch me play on Nube, which is the last game I play, and I get penned in a side scrape, because while I'm hiding my hull, which is all these parts here, in a side scrape, I'm only showing my tracks, and unfortunately, because this thing's turret's so large, you're also showing the side of this little turret weak spot. So when side scraping the vehicle, it might be beneficial to angle it, but you really can't. So you might want to angle it out like this, but if you do that, then this becomes a weak spot. So essentially, the Forest Witch actually has some pretty big weak spots going for it. The corner cutouts are a problem. The gun itself is also another weak spot. If you have high pen APCR or decent penning AP as a tier 8 heavy with, 220 pen, just shoot it in the gun. Seems like you'll pen just about every shot. Even through the gun is only about 180 mils, so yeah, not all too strong. The frontal plate is actually the shot trap. If you shoot it here and you don't have a lot of standard pen, you're actually going to bounce this quite a bit. It's about 206 millimeters thick on flat. If you angle it a little bit, the one part becomes 250, the other part's still 206. So that lower plate is actually very troll. Even the bottom is an auto ricochet to certain angles. So yeah, I really wouldn't recommend to shoot at the lower plate unless it says it's a full pen. And if you have enough pen, I mean, you can easily cut through the upper plate. If you have anything more than like 220, 230, which isn't hard to come upon in tier 7. But if you are a tier 6, you pull out a VK36, Don't shoot at this thing's lower plate because you're not going to have enough pen. Shoot it at the edge of the turret cheeks or shoot it in the gun mantlet. These are going to be your only really viable positions to pen it. Overall, I don't think the vehicle's armor is anything insane, but it is very troll, especially against tier 7s. But against tier 8s, obviously they're going to butter right through this thing's armor. I mean, this is what a Tiger 2 sees when it loads premium ammo. So it's not very hard to pen, but it will have some definitely troll moments. It really doesn't matter how you try to hide the armor, it will still have the weak spots no matter what. So essentially you just gotta hope your opponents don't know where to aim. So up against us, what do we have? Well, there's an E25, IS, Magnate. They actually don't have a lot of super deadly tank destroyers, so I'm going to make my way over towards heavy side. Now, something I find really interesting is that it has 4 tracks. I mean, this is very clearly based off of an AE Phase 1. I still wish Wargaming would allow people like me to buy the AE Phase 1, or anybody else, but, yeah, I guess one day that'll happen. Well, I'm going to go low. I always like taking the low route. Oh, there's the SU-100Y. Easy shell into his vehicle, and another easy shell into his tank, and there you go, he's dead. We also got the IS off to the side. I'll shoot him once, but obviously this is where you can't eat into your next shell, because if you do, you're gonna have like negative 10,000 DPM. So we're just gonna chill here for now. You'll notice that, yeah, it does take a while to load these shells back, like a very long time. So again, when using this vehicle, make sure you don't just yeet us into your clip because it's going to go pretty poor. But once you get your shells, you can start doing something like this. 1 shell into the M6, 2 shells into the M6, 3 shells into the M6. I'm not going to shoot the last one because that would be a foolish mistake, but at least we got some damage. Alright, well, let's reload. There you go. And hello, E25. Bye-bye. Alright, not too bad. As we can see, this tank's actually doing pretty solid so far. The IS is off to our side for 230 hit points. Okay. And I'm not seeing too much else. The VK's off to the side. We're just going to finish off the IS in a second. Bonk. There you go. Easy 230 damage shot. All they have left is a VK-45, a Magnate, and a Sherman Firefly. I only see the VK as of right now, and, well, there's the Sherman Firefly. And the Magnate is in their spawn, and he's not AFK. That's the impressive part. Well, we're going to get behind him. Oh, no, he definitely is AFK. I lied. Well, there's 1 shell. 2 shells, and 3 shell, and let's do the 4th. Oh, never mind. I was going to try and get the 4th one out, but looks like we're not actually able to in that current time frame. We got the VK off to the back, and let's get 1 shell into the VK. Doesn't look like we're able to get a second one out, but you know what? Pretty good game. I actually have to say, after just playing in the first battle, this tank is stronger than I thought it was going to be. On paper, this vehicle looks pretty mediocre, but I think I'm pretty spot on with calling this a tier 7 Caro. That's kind of what it plays like. While the clip reload isn't super fast, it doesn't seem to be the worst thing ever because of the fact that, again, autoloaders, you just need the back and the cover. You get 3 shells that deal 240 alpha, and it has a fairly fast intra-clip, which allows you to actually get the shells out pretty convincingly quick. Oh, first shell misses, but that's all good. We're going to watch our VK-28 jump on him. Alright, well, that was a pretty solid game. I'm not going to lie. Alright, so I would probably rate this tank a solid 7 out of 10. I wouldn't say that it's in the overpowered category. There's a lot of people that are like, is this the next Smasher? Is this the next Annihilator? No. I mean, it would take me 3 shots to deal the same damage as Smasher or Annihilator deals in 1 burst in the Annihilator, or 1 shot in the Smasher. And, I mean, that's just the fact right there. The Annihilator has more effective DPM. It's got about 2,000, and so does the Smasher. So, essentially, this is still not going to be as good as the Annihilator or Smasher, but I do think that this is a very solid vehicle. So what do we have? A T-43, VK-45, and a VK-36. Okay, I mean, that's not the strongest of heavy lineups at all, so I'm not actually too worried. Apart from that, they have a T-43. Yeah, they really don't have all too much that I would have to be worried about. Our mobility is going to make their way up the bridge, which is good. Our KV-2 is annoyingly pinging. He wants to go town, which you can. Go town all day long. But when you're the one who gets ransacked by the entire enemy team, yep, there he goes. I always love when people do that. They're like, yes, guys, let's all go town. Everybody doesn't go town, and he still goes there alone. Well, as I said, if he gets ransacked and absolutely bedonkered, He has only himself to blame. So let's push up top. Our Hellcat has unfortunately gotten bled a little bit, but doesn't seem like it'll matter too much. We're just going to drive right over. I mean, yeah, I'm just going to completely push this guy. Oh, we got the VK in front of us. There's one shell into the VK and 2 shells into the VK, but the entire enemy team is camping in the back. Now, something you'll notice about this vehicle is it does feature the reserve track mechanic, which means even if you do get tracked, you have the ability to still reverse, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's not like the most OP ability, but it is still a cool ability nonetheless. So we get 1 shell into the VK, 2 shells into the VK, and I'm not going to shoot the third one. We do lose DPM when we do that. There's no real point to, but you will notice the armor on this vehicle is nothing incredible. It does have some weaknesses. We got the MT-25, we got the Brett Panther, there you go, nice shell, and let's aim it on the VK. There you go, 1 easy shot. There you go, finishing off the enemy VK. Not too bad. They've obviously been doing okay here, but you'll notice the armor really isn't, like, that strong. Like, it's good, don't get me wrong. You'll get a lot of bounces, but, like, we're not getting insane bounces here. We are getting penned in side scrapes. That 1 shell went right through the edge of our turret, so you do got to keep that in mind. We got the VK-36, going to wait for my last shell, and we're going to, of course, not pen him with that tracking shot. Alright, well, that's fine. We got 2 other shells with his name written on it, so let's get those 2 pens in. We're up to 1900 damage. This is where the DPM feels pretty meh on the tank, I'm going to be honest. I mean, you can obviously see that we have to dump into our shells to damage this guy. Let's get another nice penning shot into the VK. I don't really think he wants to fight us anymore. Oh, is he just going to poke me? I mean, you can do that. It's not going to go well for you. I'm just going to reload a shell. There you go. Long live the enemy VK. We got the T-43 and T-3045. He just got bonkered by the KV-2. Did that KV-2? Yeah, he did. He drove all the way around the entire map just to get over here. Well, we're not able to shoot the T-43, but that's fine, because we're going to try and finish off the MT-25 as of right now. Yeah, I might have been able to get I definitely would have been able to get a shell, is what I should say, into that T-43. But it doesn't really matter. We're going to get 1 shell into the MT-25 right there. 2 shells into his tank. And even though we have an 18-second reload for our final one, obviously it makes sense if the T-43 is not anywhere near me. So not too bad. Not too bad at all. Again, we can see that the vehicle does decent on this clip. I do actually think it's a pretty solid tank, especially with the way the gun works. And even though that 18-second reload is quite long, it doesn't feel like the worst thing ever. We already have that shell loaded. So there's the enemy T-43, and we're just going to reload here. Now, the lower plate on this tank is actually very strong, which is something a lot of people don't know. We're just going to reload here. And now that we have 3 shells, I'm going to get 1 into the T-43, 2 into the T-43, and I wonder if we can ram him to death. Come here! Full speed! Blah! Well, not a bad game at all. As we can see, the Forest Witch is a pretty solid vehicle. The gun is nice. The mobility, it doesn't feel too bad. 36 isn't the worst thing ever, as I said, so it's actually not too bad on mobility. To be fair, we were on hard terrain, so if we were on medium or soft terrain, it would be a bit slower, but still not too bad. 3,500 damage, 3,200 blocks. We got an ace, we got a high caliber, which means we're going to make a crap ton of credits. Let's see how many. Yeah, 163,000. So how would I rate this tank? As I said, a pretty solid 7 out of 10. I think it's a very good vehicle. I don't think it's anything overpowered, but it seems strong, like very, very strong. So I'm actually pretty happy about this vehicle. I think Wargaming did a decent job on it. The only thing, as I said, it's pretty ugly, but not a bad take at all. Do I think it's worth 15 bucks? Yeah, I do actually. I think that this is a decent deal, especially when you add in all the other things that come with the vehicle, like, you know, all these extra bonuses. I don't think it's too bad. Let me know in the comments down below if you agree or disagree with me after getting the tank, but I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.